How's it going, everybody? I'm Drifty from Driftwood Gaming, and we're going to do another Let's Make a Monster episode. And based off of Google Analytics and viewer feedback, you guys seem to enjoy this series. So there's plenty of monsters to be made, so let's jump into it this time. Last time we did the Primal Mantis, but we're going to do sort of the same sort of thing, where we look at an area and we figure out what kind of monsters are we going to fight in this area. Then we're going to find some artwork for that. We're going to try to draw inspiration on that artwork and then think of a name for it. And so last time we did the Primal Mantis, I sort of made like a roguish type character or, archetype for it. I was thinking this time to do like a caster or like a mage archetype. So looking at this area, this is the map by Buried in Ashes, and we've got like this forest decrepit tower type thing, and we've got the Primal Mantis already in this area. But now we're going to create some sort of caster trash mob. And we're going to create an item, and the skills and the animations all appropriate for that. So let's jump into the database. And I was looking at some of the artwork I have, and I was thinking if I don't find a better one than this Lamia, we'll use this Lamia. Give it like some sort of sleeping attack, or maybe even stone like petrification attack, or like some fire, or even like wind. Maybe not wind, because I sort of put the element of wind on the Primal Mantis, but I'm going to default to this one, but we'll scroll down and see if we get any more inspiration off some of the art, and you guys can kind of see some of the art I have here. I did see a couple of monster images that I'd like to use for the inside of this tower. I saw like a mimic sarcophagus, which I thought was really cool. So I'm definitely going to add that one later on when we get the 3 or 4 trash mobs before we get inside the actual tower. This could work, but maybe not. Maybe we don't want to use that, because I want to kind of keep it like natural creatures, not so much like humanoids. But yeah, definitely going to default to that Lamia if I don't immediately get some sort of inspiration from one of these pictures. A lot of these are Akashics, a lot of these are from VX Ace that are resized, some of these are built into the engine, and some are just free ones I found online. This one might work, like the animal head, but it's sort of humanoid, kinda. I don't know if the Lamia would be considered humanoid, because it doesn't, it's not like bipedal. It doesn't have 2 legs. It's sort of like a snake body. This would work too. The demon, like a demon wolf, that might work, but maybe not so much for a caster. I want to do a caster this time to do some magic skills. Also, at the end of the that could work too. At the end of the last episode, I forgot to do the animation, so I'll show you the animation I did for the last ability that we made. This little kobold thing could work too. Lots of good things. Actually, let's just go to the Lamia one. We'll keep it moving, and we'll just add the Lamia. And we could use the built-in Lamia one, or we could use Akashic's Lamia. So this is the one that comes with MV, but I kind of like this one a little bit better. It's less detailed, right? But it sort of fits the theme of the game a little bit better. So we're just going to use the second one. You can get this on akashics.mo if you want to add these battlers. So we'll think of a name. We could even stick with the Lamia theme, but we can call it Snake Woman, or Medusa even. But then we would probably want to add like Stone Gaze and make a petrification attack. We're going to delete the basic attack, because we don't want to use the basic attack. We want to create custom skills for it. So I could do the stats right off the bat first. Since I already know the archetype I want to go for, I sort of want to make it like a caster, right? So we're going to keep the similar amount of experience. We'll say 118 experience, and then in my formula I sort of kind of take half of that value, and that's what will determine how much gold I give it. And for HP, since we're going to have a caster, we want to make it a little more glass cannon. It's not going to have as much HP as, say, the Primal Mantis. Maybe even 450, but we'll make it hit a lot harder. So for the attack, it's going to be like 50, not so much attack, not so much defense, a good amount of magic defense. It's just going to be a caster. It's going to have skills fighting off of a good resistance, basically. But we're going to give it a pretty nasty magic attack. We're going to say 80, so it's going to be pretty strong, actually. Maybe that's too much. We'll say 75. We'll have to balance these numbers out. Probably don't want to make it too fast, so we'll say 55 agility and 50 luck for now. And these numbers will change completely depending on how you set up your classes and how you set up your parameter curves, if you're using plugins or not. So especially if you're using the enemy levels plugin. If you're using the enemy levels plugin, then you can pretty much bring the numbers down a lot lower than what you see them there. So yeah, we're probably going to make it a black mage. So we might give it some of the black mage skills we've already created, but I'll go over them so you can see how I did them. Would be a good idea. So let's go ahead and look at some of the skills that I've already got made, and see if any of them would fit for that, for this creature. Scrolling down, I see quite a few different ones, but I do want to create some new ones in this episode as well, to see, so you guys can see the process that I go through to make it. Actually, let's create a new one. Okay, so if we're going to call it Medusa, we're going to have to give it some sort of a status effect like Stone Gaze or something, right? So Petrify or Stone Gaze, I sort of like that. Let's go with Stone Gaze, and it'll basically be like a stop, a stop status effect. So we'll create the state for that and everything, and we'll go through the whole process of creating a new state, and maybe even make an item that can cure that, right? And maybe even give it a chance to drop that item. Just a lot of games do that, like the snakes and the bees and everything that can poison. They usually give them the chance to drop antidotes to cure the poison, as well as the possibility for that item to be stolen from the creature. So for Stone Gaze, I think that works perfect. Like I said in the last episode, you don't want to get hung up too long on any one aspect, any one little part of the skill, because there's so many things you have to do. So we're going to just default Stone Gaze. We're going to go with my first thought, the first icon that could work. That would be fine. We don't need to give it a description, right, unless we're going to make it as a blue mage skill, which we might do later on, but we don't need to do that right now. I've classified all of these skills as enemy skills, so we'll go ahead and put all of these, put that right into the enemy skill. And it's going to be a caster, so we're going to make it use MP. So we'll just make Stone Gaze pretty expensive, 50 MP. That's a lot of MP for this skill, because it's going to do something powerful. It's going to turn your party member into stone, which could kill you. So what we're going to do is set the scope to one enemy. Occasion will be battle screen only. 50 MP cost. It's definitely not going to be a certain hit. We're going to make it a magical attack. We're going to say cast. We're going to create an animation for it right now, but first of all, we're going to need to create a state for it, probably, unless I've already made Petrified. Scrolling down through these. I have made Petrified already. But okay, but we don't want to make it 100% chance, because that seems pretty evil, right? Let's give it a 50-50. So when it uses this skill, 50% chance is going to turn you to stone. But I want to go over that state just in case it's different than how I want it to act, and also so you guys can see sort of what I have it do. So in my state as Petrified, we've set the restrictions to cannot move. I've set the priority pretty high to 98, so it'll be a big priority. Whether that matters too much, I'm not sure. SV motion, none. Oh, excuse me. SV overlay, none. Remove at the end of battle? No. Actually, this is going to be a pretty detrimental effect, right? You turn to stone, and just because you kill the creature doesn't necessarily mean that your stone is going to wear off. It could. We might actually, it's up to you. I'll leave that up to you. For me, I'm going to make it a little evil and to keep it off, so that you have to manually cure it with a skill or an item to kind of deter the party away from this area. Other extra parameters I've created for this is I've dropped the evasion rate to 100% and the magic evasion rate to 100%. So if you're turned to stone, you're not going to be able to dodge any attacks. So they could still miss you if their accuracy is too low. So if they're blind, they could still fail to hit you, but if they manage to pass the accuracy thing, then the evasion rate the evasion, you'll have no evasion rate. It's impossible your turn to stone. So this is up to you. You can create the state however you want. The main restriction you want to do with petrified is cannot move. That way the player can take no action when they're petrified. And that's pretty much it. So now we're giving this skill the chance to add the state of petrified to the target 1 out of 2 times, so 50% of the time. Let's create an animation real quick for petrified. So we're going to use the skills I showed you in the last episode on little tricks to make it easier to create a skill by taking another skill as a template and then changing it up completely. That's kind of cool, actually. We'll take this one, the sonic wave, and we're going to paste it right here at the bottom. You change maximum if you need to. I'm going to change the positioning not to from screen but to center. We're also going to, I sort of want to, let me see, is it, yeah, we could actually batch that and change the scale of it a bit. So looking at this, if I add a new one, this is 100%. So I can see these are pretty big. These are about 200% probably. Cut that. So let's batch this and change this to maybe 175 and just to see what happens. So it's a little bit smaller. Let's do 150. Scale it to 150. And we'll just change the opacity a little bit to 200. And let's see what happens if we change the blend mode for fun to additive, just to see if it changes it at all. Didn't seem to change very much. Let's go ahead and batch it again, this time just changing the blend mode to multiply. I want to see. Oh, it's kind of dark there. Alright, let's change the blend mode to screen and see what happens. So it's pretty much the same. I didn't really want to shift, but let's see what that did. That's fine. I kind of want to go with the multiply just to keep it dark, but I also want to edit the hue. Apparently it doesn't really make much of a difference. So let's just go ahead and put it in the center and very little. I also want to get rid of all of the screen flashing and some of the excess target flashing. So we'll go ahead and edit this. We'll change the sound and change the flash to target. And let's think about that's a little too deep. We'll go to 90%. And we'll change the coloring a little bit to more of a gray. I actually want it to be like a gray. Since you think of a rock as like more of a gray color, well, I would anyway. Cool. Simple template. What we could even do to make it a little more interesting is let's take the last, let's say, right about on 13, or is it 14? Let's do with 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go on 13. I'm going to delete frame 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Like that. So I just got up to here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move all of these to the center. Like this. And now what I'm going to do is batch the... No, I'm going to tween. We're going to tween. So basically what tweening does is it moves the images around. So we're going to take the first frame all the way to frame 13, all of the cells, and we're going to take all of that data and we're going to tween all the data so that it goes from the beginning to from the outside to the inside, and just to see what happens. We could always start over if we need to. Let's just look at what happens. So that seemed to only affect that first cell right there. So if we tween, let's take, oh okay, maybe if we go like this and move all of these inside like that from the end. Now we'll try to tween again. See what happens. There we go. Oh no, wait, what happened? Seems like it's only moving that one for some reason. Let's move this in here. Okay, I like that. Do you see what we did there? So it's like you've got these four circles, and they sort of go towards the center, and they end up in the middle right there. I like that. We're going to settle on that. We've changed it up enough. We're going to call that Stone Gaze. Apply that. We're going to go back to skills, and we're going to give Stone Gaze that animation. Perfect. Alright, so I wanted to make it a caster. That's going to be its ability. It's going to cost MP, so I guess it would be like a spell. But we also want to give it some Black Mage skills. So I've already made a lot of the Black Mage skills. So let's go ahead and look at those. Probably going to give it the tier 2 spells, since it's going to be in my game. You can tier it however you, in your game you can tier it however you want. In this game I know it's going to be between level 30 and 35, so it's probably going to be in the tier 2s, maybe even tier 3s. What element am I going to give it? Probably earth, right? Because I'm thinking it's to be an earth attacker. So let's give it, I'm going to give it Stonaga, which is a very nasty area of attack, earth attack. So let's see, I have Stonaga right here. Let's look at it. This is a player skill, so it's actually has a description. And I've set the skill type to Black Magic. What's cool about enemies is you can actually award them any types, and they don't have to have the specific type to use that skill. So even if it's not an enemy skills, the enemies will still be able to use it if we award it. So we're going to award Stonaga, and looking at this skill, I've set it as Black Magic to cost 37 MP, targets all enemies. Occasion, all of the skills are battle screen for this project. It's a magical attack. I've given it the animation Earth 1, which I believe is a Yanfly animation, which you can get right on yanfly.mo from his freebies section. And this has a cooldown of 5, so you can't spam it so much. But we're going to give this, since it's a caster, I would imagine casters are going to have more abilities than like your tanks and your fighters and your rogues and stuff. So probably going to give it 5 abilities. Instead of 3 like we did with the Primal Mantis, we're going to give it 5. So for the formula with this, I've made it 100 plus the caster's magic times 2. I've set the element to earth and its HP damage with the chance to critical hit, variance of 20. It's pretty standard right there. But what we're going to do is award Stonaga. We're going to add Stone 2 and Stone 3. So let's look at Stone 2. Very similar thing that happens here. Maybe not Stone 3. It might be too strong if we give it Stone 3. But this costs 43 MP. And it's the next tier on the animation freebies pack from Yanfly right there, Earth 2. And it's basically the same formula except stronger. So instead of 100 plus, it's 200 plus. And also the magic attack power gets multiplied a bit more. So if we look at Stonaga, we already did that. But we can see that's times 2 because it's going to hit all the party members. So you don't want your AoEs to be super strong. You want them to be specifically weaker than your single target skills, which was what this one is. This also has less of a cooldown since it's a single target. It's got a cooldown of 3 turns. So I'm going to award Stonaga. Actually, we'll do Stone 1, Stonaga, Stone 2. We'll do Stone Gaze and then a basic like melee attack. Because even though it's a caster, it can run out of MP. So we'll give it this skill as well, which is 100 plus the caster's magic attack power. It's a low cost with no cooldown, so it'll still be able to keep casting. So let's award these. Let's go back to our enemies. Let's award these new skills. I think the first one will be in enemy skills, which I have around 600 something. So there it is. Stone Gaze. We don't want to give that a high priority because it's going to permanently disable the party member until you either use some sort of item on it, like a soft, or we'll have to create the item to cure petrification. I think I have already made some skills like Asuna to cure all elements like that, but we'll make some specific items that this creature can drop to combat this evil status effect. But we're giving it a rating of 3 because we're going to give it other abilities with a higher rating. So we're going to go 5, 4, 3. As I said in the last episode, if you give something with the rating of 5, you give a creature or an enemy an ability with the rating of 5, and then you also give it an ability with a rating of 2, that ability with the rating of 2 will never happen. Because it's just it's too far away. For some reason it won't work. So we'll give Stonaga a rating of 4. So it's actually, maybe we want to put that at 3 because that's going to be pretty evil. So let's put that at 3. We'll give it we'll copy paste so we don't have to exactly find the same spot. Sometimes it's a good trick to do that because look, we're in the same area. We'll give it Stone 2 with a rating of 4, and we'll copy paste that and edit, and then we'll give it Stone 1 with a rating of 5. So it's going to use Stone 1 most of the time. And then every now and then it'll do Stone 2, and then rarely it'll do Stonaga or Stone Gaze. But we also want to give it like a basic melee attack with a rating of 5. Even though it's going to do less damage, we want to have something that doesn't cost MP. We also need to decide how much MP we want to give it. Now, because I'm using the enemy levels plugin, it's going to be scaling this number, but we don't want it to be so low that they run out of MP after a few turns. So I'm going to start off with 200 MP, and that'll be scaled up to level 30, 35, so it'll probably have several hundred MP, so that might be too much in the long run. Maybe we'll do 150 now that I think about it, because it's going to be scaled. So let's add a new ability, one more skill. Let's go back up to where I have the enemy skills, which is right here. And let's just switch this up. Okay. I like a lot of instrumental music, but sometimes I get a lot of lyrical content. That's different music is good. Anyway, back on track. We're gonna create a new skill. We have some skills that could possibly work for it, like Claw, right? But let's create a new one. What kind of what I do when I'm creating abilities and skills, sometimes I look at the artwork and I look at it and I'm thinking, what kind of attack would this creature do? Immediately you would think it might hit you with its tail, right? Because it's a giant snake tail. Or it could, you know, the Stone Gaze was the first thing, but that's not going to be its primary attack. It could claw, it could, you know, kind of get to the player quickly and hit them. So rush attack might work, or Slither might work, which is a buff skill I gave to another creature, which increases its agility and stuff. I might give it that just to make it a little more diverse, but it's going to have quite a few abilities already. Let's give it like a tail attack. And I think I've already created a tail attack. Tail, do I have tail? Oh cool, I haven't. So let's make a tail attack. Tail swing. Let's find a piece of artwork that would work for like a giant snake tail swing. And we don't want to get too hung up on it, so we're gonna just kind of, the first thing that looks halfway decent and it could, you know, remotely work, we're gonna settle for it. Maybe that, I don't know about that one though. So we'll keep looking until we find something that would look like a tail swing. And if worst comes to worst, we could always use something generic, like you know, like one of these skills right here. That might work. Got a lot of icons to choose from. That's a good thing. Maybe one of these at the bottom. We'll go back to the top because I think, or in the middle, because I saw a couple that would possibly work, and we'll go with the first ones. Was it this one? I thought this one. Kind of hard to tell what that even is, right? But it looks like something's moving, and it's got like some speed. It kind of looks like a fang as well, now that I look at it. And it's not really so much of a fang, so that could be a little bit off. I feel like I'm spending too much time finding something, so the next thing that looks remotely decent, I'm going to just settle on. For a tail attack, I did see that this would actually work, so we're going to go with that. It looks like, you know, it's a green arrow, the snake's going to be green, and it shows some sort of movement, so that's going to work for our tail swing. Once again, it's not going to be a player skill, so we don't need to give it a description. I'm going to typecast it as enemy skill. We're going to make this generate TP. As a matter of fact, since we're going to make Stone Gaze like an ability, not so much a skill, let's make it a physical attack. let's change it up. And instead of MP, we're going to give it TP cost. So it's going to cost 50 TP. So this means that even at round 1, it's not going to be able to petrify the player, which I like this better. So if you kill him, there's a strategy now we've created. If you kill him quick enough, they won't have a chance to petrify you. So we need to give some a way to create TP. So we're going to make Tail Swing generate 20 TP. So it's going to be able to use Tail Swing 2 or 3 times depending on if you hit it, because even when you receive damage, you could also gain TP. So 2 or 3 hits with Tail Swing, it'll generate enough TP to use Stone Gaze. And then, you know, that's still a 50% chance. So it's not extremely evil, but it has a possibility to mess up your character with Petrify, right? So we'll make Tail Swing not super strong, but have it giving a lot of TP. So we'll make that physical attack. We're going to create an animation for it. We'll say uses Tail Swing, and then we'll say uses Stone Gaze. And the other skills are set to casts. Occasion, battle screen only. 1 enemy. And let's give it a formula before we make the... What kind of attack is this going to be? I feel like it's going to be a blunt attack. It's going to be physical. And it's going to be blunt. So we've got 19, 18, 17, 16. So we'll double check that blunt is 16. So we're going to use Yanfly's element core, multiple elements, and give it the element of 16, or whatever blunt is. Let's see. Blunt is 16. So another side note, I still see games being sent to me that don't have their types like this, which is okay, but it's real easy to do if you want to add an icon when you look at the status for what element resistances you have. If you do /I and then in brackets you put a number, that's going to show an icon right there. So that's a quick way to do that. So yeah, we're going to give the Tail Swing physical and blunt damage. We're going to let it have the chance to critical attack, and let's give it a damage formula. Let's say 150 plus A dot ATK attack power times 2 plus A dot DEF times 2, or just AD, yeah, plus its defense. So 2 times its attack plus its and plus its agility. So it's going to vary on different stats. So how defensive it is, how big it is, its body strength, basically its body thickness, its attack, its agility, so how fast it is, how big it is, and how strong it is. It's all 3 of those things, plus a base set amount of damage of 150. Plus, it's going to be twice as strong on the attack compared to the other 2. So basically, it's similar to ATK times 4, right? Because this is a third stat and a third parameter and a fourth parameter. So that's a simple damage formula. And because I'm using Yanfly's armor scaling, I don't need to go -b.def. But if you are using, if you're not using armor scaling, you might want to do a subtraction in there, like -b.def or something like that, or -b.def times 2, or whatever you want. Cool, so let's award this skill to our new enemy. We'll just copy this one and paste it because they should be right next to each other. Tail Swing. We're going to give it a rating of 5 because it's going to do that and cast Stone most of the time. And then it's going to cast Stone 2 every now and then rarely it's going to cast Stonaga, and it's also rarely going to do Stone Gaze, but it will only do this if it has the TP to do it. Same thing, if it runs out of MP, it'll only be using Tail Swing. That's why even though it's a caster, you want to give it an ability that doesn't cost MP, otherwise, you know, in a long battle, it could become rather useless. So there we go, we've got 5 skills. We need to do an animation, I almost forgot again. So let's do our animation on Stone Gaze. Our animation on Tail Swing. We're going to do this one quicker because it's a simple melee attack. So we can do something. Let's see. This is a cool one, but it's a little too slow. We want something with maybe 10 frames. Let's take a built-in one. Boom. That looks perfect, actually. Let's take Sweep. We're going to use it as a template. Go down here, paste it here. We'll call this one Tail Swing. It's almost already how I want it to be, but we need to change it up just for to add a little bit of customization. I think that's what it was from default. I really like that. It fits perfectly. We're gonna keep it. We don't need to change it just to change it. We want to change it to add it to make it sound different. But if what is there works perfectly, you can keep it. And matter of fact, you don't even have to make a custom animation for your skills if you don't want to. But I would recommend at least trying to. So we have a little flash here. Wouldn't really matter, but we can change up the color a little bit. Let's change up this one. Let's just see how that sounds as a whole. Actually, if we set this to go frame 2, it works a little bit better. Okay, let's change this to something else. Even though that worked pretty decently, I just want to take a look at some other ones just to see how they would play out. This might work. That works fine. I actually like that. And then special 2 is giving this little splashy effect. So as this is a template, we won't be able to use too many other image sets as a template because of how far it is. Like if we change it up to one that's only got the first 3 rows, it won't show anything because we're using these down here. But we can always change it up a little bit with the color. And we could change the color of this up too. There we go. Not too much different, but it is customized. So let's go ahead and award that to the tail swing. And there we go. So did we award that skill to the enemy? I think we did. Boom. Alright, so we're getting pretty close to finishing this up, but we need to find some way to deal with the petrification, right? So let's make a couple of items. Let's make a trash item that it will drop for money, for just coins, and let's make a consumable item that it can drop and possibly even be stolen from the creature to cure petrification. So let's do the trash item first. Once again, I look at the artwork to think, what would this creature drop? Probably one of its snakes, right? From its hair. We can call it Medusa Hair and make it look like a snake or something. Let's do that. This is going to be a garbage item, so it's going to have no scope. Occasion never. It's not consumable. We're just going to give it a price. Oops, I think I'm in the wrong spot. Yeah, we'll do that here. None, never. Nope, we just need to give it a price. Let's say 300 works fine. Does it need an animation? Or anything else for that matter. It needs a name, an icon, and a description, and that's pretty much it. So what would work for Medusa Hair? I mean, that would actually work fine. Medusa Hair. Awesome. And then we can say the same thing as all the trash items do. Can be sold for gold or used to synth some items. You can make the description say whatever you want, and you could always refer back to these trash items as synthesis recipes or like crafting recipes for your crafting systems in the future. So creating these items now would be a good idea to build like part of your database to look back on these and see, oh well, if we do a glob of tar and I don't know, dry ice, you can make like an ice bomb or something. I don't know, you know. Doesn't need anything else, so that's set. We give it a price. So let's go back to the enemy and let the enemy have a chance to drop that item. Or was it 400 something, right? Medusa Hair. Let's say 1 out of 4, so 25% chance it's going to drop that. And to determine the extra value that it's going to give, you can take the drop chance and then divide that by the value of the item. Or vice versa. Take the value of the item and divide it by the drop chance. Yeah. So if it's going to be worth 300 and we have it at 1 out of 4 chance to drop, then you're going to get a value from that, from a little under 100, right? Because if it was like that, then it'd be the value of 100. And if it was like that, it'd be a value of 50. So it was somewhere between 75 or something. You could use a calculator. But it also matches up to the value of the gold that it normally drops. So you're actually just increasing the value of the gold that it possibly can drop. Matter of fact, we'll make it 1 out of 5. just because it seems like a little bit. Or we could let it drop it more commonly and reduce the value of it. It's up to you, however you want to do it. But now that we've got the trash item, we need to do some sort of consumable item, like a potion or something that's going to cure the petrification. So let's go up to where we'd have our potions, wherever you put them. And I'll go ahead and put it right here. And we'll use Yanfly's freebies icon set. There's plenty of potions that you can use for the artwork for it, for the icon. Let's go ahead and pick this very, very bright looking liquid. And we'll say this one. Yeah, this will work fine. And we'll call it soft liquid. You can call it whatever you want. And we can let the player know this item removes. And then here's a cool trick. You can go /IT, and that's going to show the icon for a state and the state itself, the name of the state. So we're going to come back to this. This could crash if you don't put something there. I think in one of the recent patches, Yanfly fixed it so it won't crash anymore. But just to be safe, you never want to leave that blank. But what I'm looking for is a number to put in there. So looking at the state, we want to find the number of the state of Petrified, so 29. Go back to this item, we're going to put 29 right there. This item removes petrification or petrified from one ally or from one party member. Whatever you want to say right here. And you can exclude or include the note tag. You need Yanfly's message core, I believe, for that to work right. But we're going to make this one consumable, occasion always, because you want to be able to use this item, certain items outside of combat. You could make it battle screen if you want to keep the challenge on. But it would just make sense that the party would be able to use an item like this outside of combat. Like same thing with the potions. Scope one ally, we can give it a price. Completely arbitrary. Let's just give it a price of 250 for now. I'll probably change it up later when I add it to the shop or something. But what we're going to do with this is, actually we'll make it 200. And we'll keep the price kind of low, because what we're going to do is give a decent chance for this item to drop when fighting. So we'll say 1 out of 3 or even 50% chance. So we want to give it some sort of animation, right? So we'll make an animation for this. We'll do it very quickly because there's several good items that work, or several good animations that work for a potion. Let's go with that. Copy the rune 2. This is from Yanfly's icon set. Get on his website. We're going to paste it right here. And we're going to change this magic 1 to something else. Not sure what. That was an accident. I know for sure that wasn't going to work right. I don't like the ice. Oh, we could make it quicker though. By just getting rid of... No, because we want it to be at least probably 10 frames. So that one won't work too well. Maybe something like a water kind of thing. That works perfect. I like that. Let's change it, the hue a little bit, to something like that. It's too green, kind of makes me think of poison, right? So let's go the other direction. Let's keep it a little blue. That works. It's sort of where it was to begin with, but we definitely want to change the sound effect, because that sound effect sounds like an attack magic. So we want to make it sound a little more pleasing to the ear. Yeah, we'll take this one. But we want to put that sound effect at the end. So I'm going to change this to frame 15. And we'll just put that at the bottom here, paste that. What does this one sound like? So we need something at the beginning, right? So what is this flash one? No, let's create something like an item, or even... Yeah, let's start with that one. We're going to move this to frame 1. We don't need the thunder sound effect, right? Maybe something like, since it's removing petrification, and that'd be an earth sound effect, we'll kind of make it an earth sound. That could sound like... This one could sound like there's the earth's kind of, or the, it's kind of like falling off of you. Or even that. Let's go with that. And then what does this chime sound like? That actually sounds okay. Oh, that's the one we already changed, right? And then ice 2. Let's do one more kind of like good, positive kind of sound effect. I like that. That sounds good. Let's split these up a little bit. Let's make this on frame 13. And we have 18 frames, so let's hear what it sounds like. Not quite right. Let's change the frames up. Let's go to frame 5 on that. One more time, I want to hear this. Let's put this one on frame 1. And then let's take the recovery and put that on frame 13. Or we've already got chime on 13. Let's change this one to 16. And then just so that it looks right, we'll paste this here. Put this and paste that there. Perfect. There we go. Let's call this one soft liquid. And we're going to set the position to center. That works fine. Alright, that's good enough, right? So let's go back to our item. Let's add that animation to that item. So when we use it, it plays that animation. Boom. And now we need to actually make it do something, right? So what we're going to do is go to state and remove state. I think it was 29, petrified. And we're going to give it a 100% chance. So when you use a soft liquid on somebody who's petrified, they're no longer petrified, 100% chance. Awesome. So let's go back to the enemy and award this item. And let's say it drops it 1 out of 3. 1 out of 3 seems like a good percent chance, 33%. And because it's already dropping so many other things, we're going to reduce this one to a 1 out of 6. So that's adding a value of 50 more gold. And this is 1 out of 3. It's adding a value of like 70 gold or something, or 68 gold. So this is a pretty lucrative drop, fighting Medusas. But it should be lucrative because it has a chance to petrify you, right? So, and it also has an AoE attack. So this is a pretty mean creature, but it's also it's worth it to fight it. We've made it worth it because of the items and values that it can drop. But we also want to add some note tags. So I'm going to do this quickly because these may not apply to you. I'm using enemy levels plugin, so it's going to be level 30 to 35, and I'm also adding some certain drops. So if you want to add a bunch of extra drops, you can do that with the enemy extra drops, or I think it's a Yanfly plugin, extra enemy drops. There we go. And you could just type the name of the item you want, a colon, and then the percent chance you want it to drop it. So for me, I'm dropping gear points, I'm dropping some orbs, but I don't want wind orbs. This is actually going to be earth orbs. And we'll just change those up super quick. Earth orbs, earth orbs, earth orbs. I also want to do one more thing. In case you're using the thief, if you're using a thief like class or skills that have like a chance to like pickpocket, or we're using Yanfly's Steel Snatch plugin, yeah, I think that's right, Steel Snatch plugin. So you can give note tags for that too. So I'm gonna add a Steel Snatch note tag, steal item, but we want to give it the chance to steal the soft liquid 50% of the time. So I think that is item number 10. Yeah, so 108. We'll go back to the enemy, and we're gonna change this from a potion to a soft liquid. So now you can't steal a potion from these, as you could normally steal potions from most other enemies, but you can instead steal the soft liquid. I do need to add this to the last creature so that you can steal a potion from the primal mantis we made. But that's pretty much it. Well, we can do a couple other things. Now, in the last one we did the primal mantis, I actually forgot to talk about the traits. So we can add special traits. So let's do the Medusa first, and then I'll do the primal mantis at the end. So for this Medusa, what would it be strong against? What would it be weak against? Well, it's probably going to be strong against earth type attacks, right? Because its element is earth, it uses stone magic, it's going to be strong against it. So how do we make it so that it's strong against it? Well, there's a thing called element rate. We'll go to earth, we'll go to the element rate, and we'll select the element we want it to be weak against. Now, when we want to make it strong against an element, we need to reduce this number because it's a multiplication, as you can see by the asterisk here. The operation is we're going to multiply it by this number. So if we wanted to take half damage from earth attacks, we'll say 50. But in this case, I wanted to take a quarter damage. So we're going to do times 25%. Now, let's say we want to make it weak against something else. So we can do the same thing. We'll go in here and create an element rate. And we're going to say, since it's strong to earth, we're going to make it weak to what? Like wind. Let's make it weak to wind. So it's going to take 50% extra damage from wind. So how do you do that? Well, you change this value to any value that's above 100%. So if you wanted to do 50% extra damage, you multiply it by 150. If you wanted to take double damage, you multiply it by 200%. So it's pretty simple, right? So we're going to make it take 50% extra damage from wind, but only take a quarter damage from earth. Another thing we could possibly do is, it might seem like an evil creature, right? So we can make it weak to divine magic. So let's make it take 50% extra damage from divine magic. But since it's an evil creature, it's probably going to be strong against some sort of dark magic, right? So we're going to make it take half damage from dark magic. Do you see what we're doing here? We're kind of building the statistics, like its strengths and its weaknesses, and it's real simple on how you do that. For every strength, you want to give it a weakness, unless you're making a tougher creature. That's completely arbitrary, though. You make the element rates however you want. We could even do some other things if we want to. We can make it resistant to certain states. Like, let's say, since it's Medusa, we don't want to have the ability for it to become petrified, right? Now, I don't know if the player has the ability to use this state, inflict this state on other creatures, but in the future, if we do give the player some ability to inflict petrification, I don't think petrification should work on bosses or this particular Medusa. So we're making a state resist. So when you do state resist, no matter what you have on your players, even if they have like the chance to reduce the target state rate, state resist is like a 100% no fail. It's not going to be hit by that state. Now you could also do it like this. If you go petrification or petrified 100%, or you can go times 0%. So that means it has 0% chance to becoming petrified. But if by some debuff that gets thrown on them that changes the state rate, then they could somehow become able to be petrified, and we don't want that. So instead of state rate times 0, we're doing state resist to make sure that it's static 0%. Pretty simple, right? What other things could it be weak? Could it be resistant against? Let's say poison. Let's say it's got a little bit of resistance to poison, because it's like a snake. So 1 out of 4 times you cast poison, it's going to shrug it off like nothing happened. So a little buff to poison. We could even have it do certain things, like has a chance to counterattack, or it has certain regeneration. And we could do that if we want to. I don't think we really need to. We can give it special parameters, like actually making its MP cost rate go down or something, but we could just adjust the value on the skills and its actual maximum MP to affect that, so we don't really need to do anything like that. We could also give it a parameter buff, but there's really no point in this, because we could just give it a parameter change in its parameters right there, so there's no point in that. You can make it attack with earth damage if you want, or light damage, or dark damage. We don't really need to do that unless we create a state. Then we can have it so that extra damage is added. will suggest, instead of making the attack just add element, I think a good way to go about doing this is either using multiple elements on the skills that you're using, or Yanfly has a tips and tricks video that shows you how to do the red mages. It's called In Fire, and it's basically a way for you to add extra damage to each attack, and you can make that any element you want and any value you want. So check out that tips and tricks if you want to figure out a better way to add like an element when you attack. We could also make it so that when they attack, they have a small chance to inflict a state. So let's do that. I kind of like that idea. It's going to be a nasty beast. So it's going to have a 10% chance to inflict poison when it attacks you with its physical attack. So it's going to have a little bit of extra abilities right there. So you can see what you can do in the traits here. You can add all kinds of different stuffs. You can make it so that when you attack an enemy, when you're fighting this enemy, you can't use certain types of magic, or you can't use certain skills. You can make it so that you can't use certain types of weapons when you're fighting the enemy, and lots of other things, you know. So really take advantage of the traits, and I forgot to include that in the last episode. So I'm going to go ahead and do the traits on the Primal Mantis off camera, because we already did this episode of Let's Make a Monster for the Medusa. So there it is. Let's test it out, right? We need to do a little play test. So in order to play test it, we can't just create the enemy and fight the enemy. We have to actually add it to the troops. So we could do it with a random % chance. And how you would do the random % chance is you create a new enemy. You're going to use swap enemies, Yanfly's swap enemies plugin, and you create a new enemy, and you basically give it a note tag, call it swap, and then you give it a number to another number. So if I'm going swap 224 to 226, then I would go down here and I'd say, see that 224 is Primal Mantis, 225 is Medusa, and 226 is not there yet. So if we wanted to actually use this how it is, we'd have to change this because we don't want to add anything blank. So when we add this enemy, it's going to be either a Primal Mantis or it's going to be the Medusa, right? So one or the other. But we're not going to use that yet until I make the next one. And then we'll use the random % chance and test like more than one fight one-on-one. We'll do party battle versus it. For now, we're going to do the same thing we did with the Primal Mantis. We're going to add the Primal Mantis to the troops, scrolling down. Or I'm sorry, the Medusa to the troops. The same way we did Primal Mantis. Just add one, because we're going to play test it 1v1. Now keep in mind, this is going to be level 30 to 35. I'm also setting my main party member level 30, but I'm also using level 1 stuff, and not even a full set of level 1 stuff, just level 1 piece of armor, level 1 sword. So I'm going to have a lot more when I'm fighting this. Oh, I forgot to actually change it. We need to edit this event so that instead of fighting the Primal Mantis, we're going to fight the Medusa. You can also make it so that it's a random encounter by editing here and setting the troops in here. You can just select the Medusa right here, and that'll cause the Medusa to be in the pool of items that you could fight. And you can set how often. I recommend 60, 70, or 80 encounter steps that you'll get into the fight with that creature. And we'll actually add the Mantis while we're here. Add the Primal Mantis, because this is going to be one of the maps that has random encounters. Most of the game will not have random encounters for me, but this map will, and some exploration maps will. So when I walk around, I can get into a fight with this, but we probably won't get into a random encounter in the one step. So we got a 1 out of 60% chance to get into a random encounter before we get to this event. So we're going to take one step. So if we fight the Medusa right there by interacting with that, let's go ahead and give it a shot. So it should seem a little bit hard right now because I don't have any artifacts, and I'm at the bottom tier, the lowest level that you should be to fight these things. I also forgot to do a battle back, which is kind of irrelevant, but it's something for this game I need to do. Forgot to do last episode. So let's go ahead and just attack it with our sword to see how much damage we're doing. Not too bad. That's going to do a lot of damage right there. That seems to be about right. Yep, because we're going to be hitting a lot harder when we have a better sword and we've got better gear. We have possibly better limit breaks and stuff. Might come in here with skills and stuff. Let's actually end it with something flashy. Let's go ahead and do a limit burst. And let's do Twister Blade on it and end it. I think the monster is pretty balanced. I might need to do some more fine tuning. But that's going to do it for this episode of Let's Make a Monster. This episode was on the Medusa. Hopefully you guys like these. Apparently you do, because I got some pretty good feedback. And I also can check my Google Analytics, and they tell me what videos are doing well and which ones are not. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for your interest in this. And if you want to make a special request on, say you want to make a special kind of monster that has multi-phases or something, let me know in the comments below what kind of monster, what archetype you want it to be. If you have naming or skills you want to see on a monster, let me know. I'll take special requests for Let's Make a Monsters in the comments of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you want more RPG Maker MV tutorials and Let's Make a Monster episodes. I had a lot of fun making this. I always have fun making monsters. The hour usually just flies by for me, so I like making these, and I'm glad you guys like watching these. If you have special requests, put them in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Like this video. We'll see you in the next one.